to set the stage, we have to look at the resource of water on the African continent. This is something that is a scarcity and is something that is a finite resource, and that experts throughout the world is predicting going to be one of the most key resources in the next 100 years. Oh. So our water quality is something that is of utmost quality, well, utmost importance, I should say. And on top of that, that obviously extends into our seawater, not just drinking water as well, because with our seawater comes obviously fishing, with our seawater comes our environment and obviously our biodiversity. Now, where the statement comes from specifically is this new minister, the DA Minister Dion, who basically completely backtracked on his predecessor Barbara Creesy's decision. When it comes to Cape Town specifically, in almost all of our branches, we pump this, for better lack of words, sewage straight into the ocean. And what this means is that this filtration that is happening is very light, because we are not mass producing chemicals, we are not mass producing any specific function, we're simply filtering this water and letting it go out. And obviously, it doesn't take a rocket science to understand that you cannot be pumping sewage, basically raw human excrement, into the ocean without there being consequences. So before leaving office, Barbara Creesy stated that there is no environmental benefit or no environmental justification for the sewage pumping, especially were it to be raised. Fast forward to where we're at now. And without public participation, without any due process, and coming from a minister who, in his own words, does not even know what COP is in an environmental standpoint, he has decided to basically raise these limits far past anything else before, which basically means that so many of our beaches, which were already, some of them, such as Greenpoint, such as Camps Bay, areas that have already seen discharge levels that are concerning, are now only going to become worse. If we had to look back to 2024 at the beginning of the year, you have various principled and very accomplished individuals who are coming out against the city of Cape Town, basically saying that the levels that we are getting displayed are not accurate, and the testing is also not as thorough as it could be, because a lot of people think, oh, these water treatment plants, they're testing for everything. They're testing for, obviously your E. coli and stuff like that, but what about chemicals? What about things that are harmful? No. We only test for two things, and one of those being E. coli and another of those being also another strain that comes from human excrement. So what that means is that all of these variety of different factors that could be, having an impact on, such as algae growth, such as fish development, such as, just a biodiversity, let alone what the impact could be on humans, all of this is slowly starting to build up. And because it's underneath the surface, we are failing to what the human condition is very prone to, where if I can't see the problem, it's not real. And if you have to look at this public participation process, over this last year, we've really seen multiple different experts, Stellenbosch researchers, people from the National Sea Rescue Institute, former CEOs, all of them basically coming out against the city and saying, your public participation process is basically non-existent when it comes to water. You are basically saying deny, deny, deny.
So your statement also says, it concludes with a challenge to the Minister and Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis to take a dip in the water. Why would you want to do that to us? Why would you want to, visit on us the horror of seeing, Jordan Hill-Lewis and Dion George, splashing about in the water? But the serious question is, what actions should the city take to ensure that the marine waters are safe? What guarantee should the city give to people that, they're not swimming in effluent every time they go and take a dip?
Well, yeah, obviously there's hotspots that are in certain areas. We're not by any means claiming that every single water facility in the city is, or every single beach is contaminated. Make that very clear. But at the same time, the kind of questions that you're asking is very important, because the kind of warnings that we've had are things that are so trivial, like don't swim 150 meters within the Greenpoint landfall, the effluent. And for me, I find that so ridiculous, because obviously the thought that water stays in one area, the thought that sewage or anything, sediment or anything, can only be distributed in an area in the ocean is absolutely unscientific, because obviously that's going to be flowing out into various areas. So I think one of the biggest things that they could do specifically is engage with these experts, these people who are leading water research institutes or leading lectures at UCT or Stellenbosch or have 40 years of experience on the ocean themselves, such as the National Research. Get these people at the table and see why there's continuously so many people coming out against your water supply.